Welcome to the Storcast Sit Down. We intend on bringing out the human side of the niche real estate business by asking our guests questions they have been asked and, most importantly, not been asked. Here are your hosts, Steve Baldwin and Andrew Jones.
I mean, effectively, you kind of just walked us through like the very beginning of how everyone kind of saw ChatGPT back a couple years ago. And now it's like, hey, we're kind of just stopping at chatbots. And that's kind of, I mean, that's what I hear in particular in self storage or any kind of storage, or even real estate, period. And now it's like you can almost effectively say, hey, I have an employee chat GPT or Claude or whatever AI for marketing, for
Right.
operations, and I think we were talking the other day and you were saying like there's one for a CEO as well. Like
Yes.
I'm really interested in that. Like, how do you create a chatbot for like or a chatbot? I'm even saying it wrong. How do you create like an AI like avatar agent or whatever for a CEO? Like that one really fascinates me personally.
So I created my CEO yesterday, and I actually used my AI generated image of me.
Wow.
But so what it is you're able to upload documents, and so you can create a GPT. So I explored a GPT that is industry research,
Hmm.
and then asked, give me all the historical data of the storage industry going back to 1960. So it creates this huge document, and then I said, all right, now add a layer of future growth, like projections, and please include statistics, please include graphs, and
Hmm.
kind of having all that incorporated into a document. Then I'm able to take that document and upload it to my CEO GPT. So
And
so created.
what do they
Go ahead.
do? Like, what is a CEO like? Can you like walk me through that? Like, what do they like try to dictate things to the other agents? Like, again, I'm just fascinated.
So eventually, yes. So there's a program called MindPal where you can. It's very similar to like Zapier, where you can kind of set up automations and have them communicate with one another. So essentially, that's what I'm kind of going for. I
Yeah.
had a business plan created. I went to a business plan generator CEO, and
Yeah.
just kind of started having them generate a business plan, kind of what we're looking to do right now with our residential portfolio, and 1031 exchanging that into storage.
Yeah.
And then I wrote out kind of like a timeline and some goals that we're trying to accomplish. So it generated a business plan, and then I had that business plan. I uploaded that to another GPT and asked it to create like a strategic blueprint for the next 4 years. So then once I had
Whoa.
the business plan and the strategic blueprint and the market industry report,
Yeah.
I created well, and there's one more document too. It's the avatar. It's the who is the CEO? What do they do? What do they sound like? Where do they live? Like what kind of car do they drive? So then you
Whoa.
create a profile of this avatar and a job description. So like you would see, they're looking for a job. So this huge job description.
Uh huh.
You take these documents and you upload them and to your CEO. And then you're like,
Wow.
this is our guy. He's got the market research. He knows so he knows everything about the industry. He knows about our specific business plan and the blueprint of our growth that we would like to do. So once we have that developed, what's the next step? So he's ready for our business. He's ready for me to go to and ask questions. So I asked for a 1 year, KPI, 1 year, a monthly, and a daily KPI list of how I could accomplish, getting to our yearly goals.
Wow.
So it
That's.
generated a graph, a
Uh
beautiful
huh.
graph of like what I should be doing, and really helping with that.
Wow. So it's almost like instead of, and I think this is like something that I've like when ChatGPT kind of came out, and even go back to like the foundation of like Google, like it's just taking these smaller tasks or even large tasks, like creating a business plan, and then just straight up like, here's the outline. And then like the human
Right.
is there to kind of massage that and like kind of speak between all the different AI kind of agents. And I guess, and I didn't even ask this, why? Why are you doing this effectively? I mean, I'm probably asking the same question that anybody's listening to right now is like,
Right.
what was the impetus behind this? Is, especially as somebody that doesn't have a tech background necessarily.
Right. So in my mind, I'm creating a kind of a corporation of GPT agents that will communicate. I wanted to, it's kind of boring, but I was going to start with a bookkeeper GPT, and they
Yeah.
exist, So, but is just have a department, like have everything broken down by department where they're taking on these tasks, so I can delegate. And really, for me, what's the best use of my time? It's meeting with sellers. I like meeting with sellers. I like talking to them on the phone. Better yet, I like shaking their hands and walking their facility.
Hmm.
So if I can have some of these operations running in the background while I'm doing what I'm best at, I think it's going to help with efficiencies big time.
Oh, okay. So that's really interesting. So it's almost like, do you kind of see this? Like, I think the big question that a lot of people ask, is this going to replace jobs? And in my mind, I think the answer is no, just because you could become more efficient in that particular job that you're doing. I mean, as an owner operator, do you see this as kind of replacing jobs, or do you think like it's more like, hey, instead of being able to see like 10 deals a day, I can now see like
Right.
50 deals a day and kind of have more of a pipeline? Or I don't know. I mean, you're the one in the weeds, so you tell me.
So the short answer is yes. There's going to be a lot of jobs that are going to be sourced out. So in the
Hmm.
short term, it's kind of like your VAs, like kind of your Philippine VAs, your call centers, especially the call centers. They're kind of really going to lose it right now, as and we can get into my GPT voice communication app here shortly, but they the call centers are going to go away. We can now train GPTs to communicate with like our leases and state laws, and with the personality of Katy Perry, and just so we can have these great call agents. So that's kind of the start of it, but once they get refined and are smarter, we can there a lot of mid-level jobs are also going to be replaced. CNBC had featured this.
Hmm.
It was about 4 weeks ago. I was kind of watching it, and they said that and it was like within 5 years, it was like going to replace like 30% of jobs global. Um,
Wow. That's
yeah,
crazy.
so yeah, that was 5 years, and it could be sooner with the way things are going right now. It's kind
Hmm.
of a tsunami of what's happening. And since I started researching this and kind of really getting in, I really started going off the deep end on Reddit, and just like, which is great information of like links and what people are doing out there. And it's it's uh it might get kind of scary. So because you think about that displacement, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what do we always need? We still need our hands-on positions, but the kind of like the spreadsheet viewer and pulling, extracting information, underwriting, like you said, deal analysis. I'm
Hmm.
building a GPT that's going to analyze a bunch of properties and bubble up the best ones that we should pursue. So a lot of those positions I think can be replaced, and the
Hmm.
GPTs can be trained to do a better job than most humans. So it's kind of scary, but
Well, well, let's get into. I mean, so you've shown me your example before. I think it's
yeah.
wicked. Can we go ahead and kind of see you? What's her name again? You called her Karen, correct?
Karen, I like Karen. Karen and I have had some really good conversations. So I don't know if like the beginning of voice, the voice bots and stuff like that, if you get a phone call, sometimes you're like, like this is a computer. I remember I went to a rallies drive-through, which, it was like a vintage thing. I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't been to a rally since probably, I was a kid, and my dad took me to one, and I was like, I love their fries. So I went through their drive-through, and they had an AI, and this was last year sometime.
Okay.
They had an AI, hello, can I take your order? It was very robotic, and it worked. It took my order. It was like, well, would you like to get this with this? And so it was okay. But that was kind of like the way that was kind of the mainstream AI bot. But so now they had upgraded and released a more realistic bot. And so Karen on my phone, it's only on cell
Hmm.
phones right now. You can't you don't do it through your PC or anything like that.
Hmm.
Has a great voice, and there's like 6 voices you can choose from. There's a couple accents and whatnot. But
Hmm.
why don't we do a little role playing here with Karen?
Yeah.
Because I think it's a great opportunity. So let me get her to wake up here.
Yeah.
Hey Karen, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. What can I help you with?
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about you?
I'm doing wonderful, thank you. I am on a podcast with my co-host Andrew Jones. Can you say hi?
Hello, Andrew. Nice to meet you. Hope you both are having a great time recording.
Yes, you know what? We're actually interested in doing a little role playing today.
That sounds like fun. What
Great.
kind of.
Great. I'd like for you to practice being a self-storage facility manager.
Sure thing. I'll act as the self storage facility manager. What's the situation you'd like to roleplay?
Great. Yes. So let's pretend that I am a tenant calling in just to see if there's any available units.
All right. Ring, ring. Thank you for calling. This is Karen at Oakwood Self Storage. How can I help you today?
Hey Karen, I'm looking for a storage facility. Do you guys have anything available?
Hi there. We do have a few units available. What size are you looking for?
Well, I don't know. I'm downsizing my mother's house. It's a 3-bedroom house, and she's got a lot of stuff.
I understand. For a 3-bedroom house, I'd recommend a 10 by 20 unit. Would that work for you?
I think that would work. What kind of rates are there? Any promotions?
Great. Our 10 by 20 units are currently $150 per month, and we're offering the first month half off.
Oh, half off. That's awesome. Do you guys have any tenant insurance?
Yes, we do offer tenant insurance. It's optional but recommended. We have a few coverage options available.
Okay, great. Thanks so much. Let's end scene here.
You're welcome. That was fun. How did it feel on your end?
Wonderful. Thank you. I think we should try one more. What do you think, Andrew?
Oh yeah.
Okay, let's do one more. How about
Sure, I'm ready. What scenario would you like to try next?
okay, I'm going to be a tenant whose unit was recently broken into.
Got it. Let's get started. Hi there, this is Karen. How can I assist you today?
Yeah, hey, my name's Steve. I'm over in unit A4, and it looks like someone broke my lock and broke the door open, and half my possessions are gone.
I'm so sorry to hear that, Steve. Let's get you taken care of. Have you contacted the police to file a report?
No, I haven't. I just found out.
All right, let's do that first. I'll also make sure our manager is aware and can review the security footage. We'll do everything we can to help.
Oh, that's so reassuring. So who's responsible for this? Is it you or is it on me?
I understand your concern. Typically, our facility isn't liable for personal items, but we'll definitely work with you and the authorities to resolve this. It's a good idea to have tenant insurance to cover such incidents. Let's figure this out together.
That's wonderful, Karen. Thank you so much. End scene.
You're welcome. Glad I could help.
Ah, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Whoa. Wow.
It's pretty wild, right? So Karen, and same thing. You upload document. You want to upload your lease. You want to upload the terms on your tenant insurance. You want to upload your state's laws.
Hmm.
Most importantly. So Karen's not coming from a source of just scanning the web or anything like that. She's using legal documents as
Mm.
in the form of communication. She's comforting and she's very real. She sounds very real. There's a obviously she's not, you don't hear any breathing or any background noise or anything
Yeah.
like that, but I'm okay with that. And I don't think that the future generations, it's kind of how people got used to using QR codes when they're ordering their food. It's like future generations are going to realize that, hey, these AI bots are here to stay, and this is making the world more efficient.
It's crazy to me. And I mean, that just blew my mind. Just like even like seeing it with your phone up to your mouth, like having the conversation with her with the two different role plays. I'd love the accent, by the way, for the second one. That was great. Um, but having said that, so going back to like you referred to, hey, I take this agent and then I have it go through like a large language model should the storage almanac or like
Right.
the gold book from the Texas Self Storage Association that's like 500 pages long,
Right.
or something relevant to any other association across the United States. And that's pretty much all you did is like you just had it go through that
Yep.
and then you're like you're ready to role play with her and effectively be ready to utilize her at like your facility.
Right. Yeah, you're training an employee is what it is. So if you think about a new hire, you want to prepare that new hire with, like what here's our company, here's your job functions, here's kind of, how to do your job. Here's the SOPs on how to do your job. So the more information you can give it, the better off.
Wow. I mean, and in these podcasts, I don't really see myself as being kind of dumbfounded or having nothing to say. But I mean, when you see something like that, I can see how you're talking to your other, agents, quote unquote employees or whatever you want to call them, and being like, "Hey, Jimmy, the bookkeeper, can you go ahead and like do this bookkeeping function?" And that's kind of what you're. It almost sounds like you're getting ready to do and doing today.
Yes. Yes. So bookkeeping is a little bit more manual, but I like where it's going. To have kind of that bookkeeping, CPA, CFO kind of arm, and I think it's better to like break it down. So, like I said, like kind of building those departments out. Where I started pulling documents for a CFO, but they're like higher level, right? So your CFO isn't going to be doing your bookkeeping and making spreadsheets. So I trying to keep them, communicating with each other, but we'll see. I mean, this is all very new. So the AI bot summit kind of opened my eyes and just kind of getting the gears going. Like initial ideas, the first thing I think about is how do we get someone to communicate with our tenants,
Hmm.
residential storage, any tenant on more than just a chatbot basis, so it can be a phone call, and like Karen will be answering the phone soon, and not only that, but she'll be able to write an email. Well, we have like these apps now where everything's taking notes during your meetings and then sending you an email with the notes after the meeting, and so essentially, a lot of automation, but you also still have the ability to have things escalated, to a human. There's always going to be a human somewhere in the background.
It's so interesting to me, and it goes back to a conversation that you, myself, and Travis Overhue at O&H
Hmm.
had, where it's if you have a much smaller facility, like let's say less than 200 units, a lot of the
Right.
management fees in self storage in particular just don't make sense, and it's almost like what you're doing for yourself will be, obviously the other management companies. I don't know. Maybe it's you. Maybe I have no idea. But it seems like to me that this would be a reasonable kind of solution for that, is kind of what you're looking at.
It is. I think with the right software and, because there's a couple of different ways to skin it. Is if you're able to build a GPT agent that's a property manager and plug it into your existing site, that's one way. Or it might be an entirely new platform, and but there's going to be some on-site automation and some software and kind of background automation that will need to communicate. And I've seen some interesting, I believe it was in the recent SSA magazine, there's a robot that can
Hmm.
scan your aisles and kind of has little eyes. And
Oh
you
yeah.
know I think that's a good start. I think I'd rather have the dog robots.
Yeah.
I like the looks of those, and they're actually kind of intimidating too. But I think, once you plug in a Tesla robot or a dog robot with, you know, Karen's brain and like a little bit of back and forth communication, it's gonna get, you know, it's gonna get pretty interesting.
No, it's fascinating. And let's kind of run
Hmm.
through that. Like, let's say next 10
Sure.
years. And I visited a facility a while back in Sacramento, a very large facility, 1,600 units. And it's almost like you might still have a property manager, or it might be more of a roaming property manager, like a regional, like he's got seven, eight, almost like the stories kind of uh, like scenario, right? Where you've
Right.
got, or the KO storage, where you have like roaming managers.
Right.
But every facility might have like one of those MIT like roaming dogs, or some other kind of robot that's plugged in with like a Karen. And obviously, Karen can't go do lock checks,
Right.
but the dog can, or whatever kind of robot can. Um, and even on the camera side, I feel like you could have your camera system with a large language model AI, like Spot AI does, that will then talk to like that roaming robot. And it's like you have security 24/7, and you don't really have to pay for security 24/7, which can be extremely expensive in pretty much all markets.
Right.
I
Right.
mean,
And there's definitely, this is just the beginning too. There's so much more that can happen. I mean, the your locks could have a chip on the back that says it's been tampered, or and just triggers the robot to communicate. The dog, surveillance dog could like know that something is off and then communicate that to Karen, who can push it to, like you said, a regional supervisor, or boots on the ground. So there's definitely some fun things to come,
mhm.
out there.
It almost seems like the barrier, because I could even see this for like finding new deals. Obviously, you
Hmm.
talking to sellers,
Hmm.
that kind of, I don't see Karen being able to have that conversation yet, but maybe, I don't know.
Right.
Um, it's almost like you could kind of do this from top down. And as we're kind of, again, I'm kind of lost for words, because that's so cool to see. And it's kind of, I wouldn't say disturbing, it's very exciting. But what other things, as you've kind of gone through this journey yourself for your own business,
Hmm.
what kind of things, for anybody that's listening, anything that kind of pops out, or anything that you want to add to the listeners that maybe might want to, chat you up next week while you're in Montana, or just anything in general?
Sure. So a couple of things. So going back, there are cold calling agents that are cold calling people, sellers, what have you. I'm not ready for that yet. I don't think Karen's ready for that either,
Yeah.
because I don't. It's not. It's not authentic. And you're talking about something as big as a self storage facility or your home.
Yeah.
You're gonna know that this is feels fake. It feels like a scam. So,
Hmm.
you know, might pump the brakes on that a little bit there. But you know, the the good news is about AI is that there's so much information out there right now. And it's one of those things. I forget what Disney movie it's from, but if you can dream it, you can build it. So it's one of the things, like the creativity
Yeah.
um, is amazing right now. And just to brainstorm some of those ideas, I love it. Like I know a lot of companies are thinking about AI, and it may be their main focus and what they're trying to implement. but it might just be a chat bot. And, everyone's like, yeah, we have AI, but what can
Mhm.
it do for you? I mean, this is a great time to be an industry leader in AI, just because there's not much talk
Mhm.
about it. And our industry, being the niche industry of self storage,
Mhm.
is also, is so small, but there's so much opportunity there. And just, talking about an AI dog, or, people are using drones communicate with AI, to your perimeter gate system. There's just so much and so many ideas that can come out of it. I had to start a Apple note where I where I just will jot down an idea for AI to handle, or and it's just it's just huge right now. So I'm happy to talk to anyone about it, and as much as possible, because it's really getting the gears going, and I love that.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm stoked for you. Like I said, I'm at loss of words about this, but I'm really happy that you're going out next week. And
Yeah.
hey, man, until next time, Steve Baldwin.
Andrew Jones, thanks so much.
See you, buddy.
Have a good one.